And joining us now, and this is the day, is Thierry Cagianut, who is the executive producer of the new movie Mother Teresa and Me, which will be in theaters nationwide for one night only. That's coming up on Tuesday, October 5th. Thank you so much for being with us, Terry.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Kevin. Nice to
Um,
meet you.
Maybe take us back a little bit and tell us about the idea for this movie and how you became involved in putting it together.
Yes, I mean the movie, the inspiration for this movie came from the actress who ended up playing Mother Teresa, Jacqueline Fritchie Cornas, and her husband, as they were traveling in India, and they were confronted with this extreme poverty, which they had never been subjected to, and they thought, well, we have to do something. They felt compelled to do something. And a few minutes later, they were in the office of a film producer. There was a huge painting of Mother Teresa. And it kind of dawned on them, that's what we need to do, is like spread the message of Mother Teresa in the world. And she said to the producer, well, why don't you make a movie about Mother Teresa? And that's how there was like the impetus that got it started, and that's 13 years ago.
Wow, wow. And maybe talk about the way the movie's done too. It's kind of sort of intertwining the lives of Mother Teresa and this girl who's struggling a bit with a pregnancy.
Yes, we were thinking, how do we get a modern young audience to be engaged in this movie? People, when she passed away like 1997, I believe, 26 years ago. So people who are 30 years old today don't know Mother Teresa. They have no experience of her. And we thought it would be interesting to make it contemporary by having this young woman who is struggling, is in a deep crisis herself in life, and have, that we as the audience discover Mother Teresa through her experience traveling to India and hearing about Mother Teresa, meeting the sisters, being at the places where she created, like the Shishu Bhavan, the house of the dying, the orphanages. And when she discovers that Mother Teresa had her own crisis, that she felt abandoned by Jesus, and she's just been abandoned by her boyfriend, she finds a kinship to Mother Teresa, and that it starts to change her also and her perception of life, and she starts helping other and being less self-centered, and she finds answer to her own crisis. So so the director Kamal Musaleh came up with the device of these two stories, which I think he did a brilliant work at, to bring us closer to Mother Teresa, and we see the effect of the legacy of Mother Teresa on today's life. And it's not just a historical figure, her legacy is still very much alive today.
Yeah, and talking about that too, and a lot of people know or heard of Mother Teresa, as you say, but and a lot of people might not know about her, the internal struggle, the night of darkness that she went through with her faith, and how important it was to portray that in this movie and relate it to the girl who's going through a similar type of thing, not quite in the way as Mother, but.
Well, until these letters were published, because she had ordered that they should be burned. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, during the beatification process, this letter was discovered and they were brought to John Paul II, who was the Pope at the time. And he said, no, these letters have to be preserved. And he ordered them to be published, because he said it will make her even a bigger saint, because when people saw the struggle and how she kept, the struggle with her faith, she felt abandoned, but she always had this longing for Jesus, a longing for God. And through thick and thin, she kept through the mission, although she had this enormous pain. Yeah. And that makes her very human. Because otherwise, until now, you saw Mother Teresa, the superhero, who goes out in the streets, saves everyone, and you're like, wow, you're in awe, but you cannot really relate, because, who am I, little human being? And then suddenly you discover a human being in pain who still sticks to it, gets up every morning, and she gives us a great example, and we can strive, to follow her,
Yeah.
In our little crisis, everyday crisis, which we have, and she's a fantastic example for that.
Being involved in the movie, did you pick up or learn a story of something that you didn't know about Mother as you went along putting this all together, and maybe something that struck you about her?
Well, I didn't know, obviously, growing up with Mother Teresa, I was 30 when she died. We had this awe of her, and we greatly admired her. She was a very public person at the time. Um, I didn't know anything about, this crisis of faith.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, to see how this is really deeply touching and moving when you see how every day she has this enormous pain, and she goes through and she keeps inspiring other people, and she keeps directing her sisters and everyone towards Jesus, although she feels abandoned by himself. But um, and this is deeply moving. That's and it's hard to understand, but how she did it and what was happening inside of her. But it's deeply, deeply moving.
Well, the movie's well done. Mother Teresa and Me is the name of the movie. And where can people find out more about the movie? And just to reiterate, when it's coming out again, I believe it's being released by Fathom Events.
Yeah, it's Fathom Events who's releasing it. The release date is October 5th. It's a one-day event. If the movie is successful and people go see it in droves, which we hope, they'll add other dates and other screen times, and it could become, a week, etc. But we're concentrating everyone on that one day, and they can go on Fathom Events website, fathomevents.com. They'll find the movie. They can click in where they live, and they'll find the theater near them where it's playing. It's playing in over 800 cinemas in all major markets in the United States. And they can pre-buy the tickets already, and we encourage people to go on the site, buy the tickets, because it shows, it shows the cinemas that there is an appetite, is the public for this film.
Yeah.
And so they'll say, oh my God, we have to add playtimes, because the movie is already full at 7, so let's add a screening at 5 or at 8. And so it's important that people go to fathomevents.com and buy tickets, and bring your family and friends, and we hope you'll be inspired. That's what we try to create this, to inspire the world,
Yes.
to make acts, to follow Mother Teresa with small acts of compassion and make so a better world.
Yes.
And all receipts, all profits from this movie go back to the poorest of the poor. In the spirit of Mother Teresa, especially to children in India. So nobody's getting rich making this movie. It's a foundation, and the more people see the movie, the more people, it's going to be a better world, I think, and all the more money goes to the poor.
And I can attest, I saw the movie. It's very well done. It's very, it's an entertaining movie as well, as you learn and you're inspired by it as well. So check it out, fathomevents.com, as you said. Terry, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight.
Let's go back now to the rest of This Is the Day.